earlier I was talking about the whole idea of Microsoft's Work IQ that they released, and it's supposed to be a better way to essentially just interact with all things Microsoft. And I haven't dived into it myself fully, but it is something that at my company and at other companies that they are looking into. And these are the kind of things when it comes to using AI workflows. I know most of the AI workflows I've seen are always related to obviously your custom agents, building your own little dashboards with like Hermes and stuff. But when it comes to the actual enterprise level, when you're using it at work, there needs to be a lot more things that has to go into. There's a lot more factors, right? Security is a huge thing. That's probably the biggest factor by far. Security is one. Another thing is just like the restrictions that you can. Security is probably the biggest thing, right? And security and just like uh, permissions access, right? So like if somebody asks you like, hey, what's the salary of the CEO, or what's their bonus and stuff, you can't be asking stuff like that. Or just internal company documents, like you can't just access like, what if you have proprietary software and you worked at like Facebook, like, hey, give me the code for Facebook. Like you can't just ask those type of questions to any agentic AI. So when you're creating AIs within a big business, there needs to be a lot more factors that go into it. And these are the type of questions that companies are figuring out. There's no solution to it right now, right? So I can't tell you there's a right answer for it. So something that I'm looking into right now for a bunch of different for companies, and just learning how to use Microsoft IQ.
Do you want to write you on?
Microsoft Work IQ agent to agent. All right, so let's see what we came up with, right? And I told you guys the best way that I go about learning anything is just whatever documentation page that you want to learn. This is not bad, right? But I have to go through all this, go through the REST API, every single one. It's decent to go through all this, but it's not giving me much, right? I'm just getting a bunch of code that's saying a bunch of JSON. Um, it goes really technical, and for me, the first thing I do is I understand it on a very high level, and then you get to the low level, right? Understanding something at a high level is like, hey, um, to throw a football, you need to use, your dominant arm, fling it back. Now, when you get to the low level stuff, you talk about like, hey, you got to place the laces right on your fingers. You got to hold it at the, I don't know, or dribbling a basketball, right? You get the nuances of it, but to get to the low level, it takes some time. Or a better example for that, somebody who's not sports, if you're cooking, the whole concept of pasta, you have to boil pasta water, put pasta in there, and then put it into a sauce. But if you're getting into the low level technical details, you need to make sure that it's on a rolling boil. You put salt to water. You got to dump it in for until it's al dente, and then drain it. Keep a little pasta water for later, etc. All that kind of stuff. So I usually try to understand it at a whole level. What is even pasta? How do you make it? And then we get to the lower level. So all these extra things right in here, the low level stuff. When we go into details for the REST API, figuring out like exactly the JSON that you need to use, all that kind of stuff. First thing I want to do is I just want to understand this holistically, like everything, and then go into there. So what even is this? Two new Microsoft technologies, Work IQ and A2A, are changing how AI works inside companies. This is very important, right? This is all about, it's not something that you and me would care about when we're building our personal projects, or at least not at a personal level. Maybe when you have your own small company, possibly. But imagine your company has dozens of smart employees. Right now, each one works in their own little room with no way to talk to each other. Work IQ is an office building they all share, giving every agent access to your company's emails, calendars, files, and chats. A2A is an intercom system that lets them delegate work to each other and hand off results automatically, securely, without human involvement. Now, this is essentially what you would do with multi-agent orchestration. So when you guys are creating like different agents for yourself, even Claude, when you use Claude is an orchestrator, and then it might it might spin up a bunch of different agents and then go from there. It's calling me. Getting a call, 1 second. I'm gonna mute my stream.
Come here and look. I think it's too hot for her outside.
Let me mute.